Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of the movie Jason Bourne. So, this is the newest Bourne movie, and it's kind of more a continuation of Jason Bourne's story than the story that was started in the Bourne Legacy. It doesn't even really reference that at all. So, it starts off kind of showing Nikki Parsons kind of doing her thing. She's kind of gone rogue from the agency at this point. I mean, she wasn't really that much into it in the third one, but this time she kind of looks like she's actively kind of going against the CIA. So she's kind of doing her thing in Iceland, kind of seeing any more information to get any more leaks or whatnot. And we're introduced to a new character at the agency, Heather Lee. She's kind of the, not head, but she's that one part that could one day potentially become the head of the CIA. She's the kind of amalgamation of the other ones that had been before and the kind of, I don't know how to put it, she's kind of the younger protege to like Tommy Lee Jones' Dewey character. She's kind of in that middle ground at the moment. She's the one still dealing with the Bourne stuff when it pops up, when it eventually reaches that head, but she's not in a complete position of power like the other ones in the preceding movies were. So right as Nikki's kind of doing her stuff, she kind of sees it and tries to get on it as fast as possible, put some malware onto it so that way she can track whenever it's opened, and Nikki gets what she does, kind of burns down and runs to try and find Bourne. So they're kind of trying to track her movements because they figured out that it was her and kind of see where she's going. She'd been working with this kind of anarchist dude to try and bring all these kind of programs to life, such as Treadstone, Blackfriar, those kind of things. So then we get to see Bourne, and he's just been kind of wandering. It looks like that even though he's kind of gotten some closure, kind of dealing with the effects of being reprogrammed and having a different identity fostered upon you has done a lot of damage. He's kind of doesn't have a direction in life, so he's just like going around fighting and trying to get money and trying to stay off the grid and out of sight. So eventually he crossed paths with Nikki, and they're in Greece at this point, which is having civil unrest and everything to kind of cover what they're doing, and they get those people to kind of be sent there to kind of take it out at the head because they think that Bourne's the one that's trying to do a new leak for new information and everything, and they want to stop it at the head. And they send their one asset in who actually has a history with Bourne, and because of previous leaks, he had been captured and tortured in Syria for 2 years, so he's kind of got an axe to grind. And while that's going on, we've also got this other portion of it with this tech company that's kind of afraid of any leaks because they have been having ties with the CIA. At first, they're saying that the customers, oh, your information is completely safe. As this is going on and on, he meets with Dewey, and he had made a deal to pretty much get funding so that way he could do what he needed to do for his tech startup in exchange for pretty much providing access to his customers. And that, of course, is what Dewey's plan is, to aggregate data and find who the next potential target's going to be, who's going to try and do harm to the U.S. And it's not a bad plot point, but it's kind of what we've been seeing going on. And I thought like more could have probably been done with it, but it was still a good thing for the time because we're always questioning privacy and how the government handles it, how private companies handle it, and what would happen if you'd had a kind of merging of them and what that could mean for people's privacy, and also what it would do to trying to prevent these things. Would these assets be sent out to assassinate people who are just deemed that they could be a potential threat, or would they be sent out once they've got clear information? We don't know. So the asset and Nikki and Jason kind of converge in Greece. She's trying to tell him the information that's needed because she's found out information about his father and all that. And he's like, what are you talking about and all this? And right as they're like getting through, we see that this asset's compromised by wanting to take Bourne out because he's going through, he stayed up on a rooftop longer and kills Nikki, but not before she has thrown the drive that's got the information that Jason needs to look up. So he makes his way to Berlin. meets with the kind of head of the anarchist group that she's been working with and starts looking into the data and finds that his father was the one that pretty much had the idea to start the Treadstone Project, and that it was kind of suspect about what was going on with his death. And he starts seeing flashbacks of the day that he died, and it's kind of confusing to him, so he starts trying to figure out what's going on. At this point, Heather Lee's trying to, she thinks that she's got, after reading through the evaluation of Bourne, thinks that she can bring him back into the agency given the right circumstances. So they get their way to London because he found out that the person that was observing him to bring him into the Treadstone program is living in London at the moment. So he starts talking about that and going through with that, and Heather and the asset and everybody starts converging on him. He's able to get to the dude who had been observing him and find out that his father was killed because he wanted to expose the Treadstone Project because they were interested in his son, David Webb, Jason Bourne's real name. And he was going to expose that, so they had him killed. Asset that was used, the same asset that's got the personal grudge against Bourne at the moment. So, as he's learning this, the asset gets onto the roof and pretty much almost takes Bourne out. But at this point, I don't think Bourne was trying to use him as a shield. And he's like, oh, gotta stop him, but of course, assets don't really do that. So, took out the observer guy, and Bourne was able to kind of escape and hook up with Heather Lee because Tommy Lee Jones' Dewey character had pretty much told the asset to take Bourne out. Stop this right now. That's what they're doing. Because Heather wanted to bring him in. They just wanted to take him out. So he took out her team, and she's like, what's going on? She'd pretty much been left out of the loop. And of course, Dewey's trying to pin this on her and everything. It's like, holy crap. So they kind of start figuring out where Dewey's going to be, and he's like, alright, I'll meet you in Nevada. I'll meet you in Las Vegas. So go through, and that's where the kind of big part, the intersection is, because the asset was going to assassinate the head of the tech company because he was going to go public with the CIA information. And Dewey's like, alright, make it look good, kind of hit me in the side, all that. And then they start figuring out that Heather is the one that got Jason into the country and like, take her out too. And right as that's about to happen, Jason comes in, shoots up there, wounds the asset, and all chaos starts ensuing. So he's able to confront Dewey, and he's like, come back in, do this and all that, and be a true patriot, because that's what you need to be. That your father didn't understand what you can do, what people like you can do. And of course, he's pretty much sounding like it's his own kind of thing. I mean, yeah, it's for the country, but you can kind of see what that kind of power can do to people. And then, of course, Heather's the one that takes him out before he can take Bourne out, and Bourne's ready to kind of take that on himself. So then it begins the kind of chase through Las Vegas to take out the asset guy, and then we get a nice, really good fight scene between Bourne and the asset, and it was really good. I really liked how they used their techniques and everything, and Bourne was able to, he always kind of like suffocates people with something. Almost always, but it was pretty good. My only disappointment was most of the action scenes, there weren't as many action scenes as I would have liked. I mean, there were a lot of good chase scenes, it was nice and varied up, but there was only like really this one big major fight scene throughout the movie, which was the last fight scene. So, Bourne kind of goes his way, Dewey's dead, and Heather's talking with the rest of the intelligence community to kind of see what she's going to be doing, wants to be like, if we can bring him in or we can take him out. And then she's trying to talk to Bourne, and Bourne's like, I'll think about it. And he had left a video camera showing that he had videotaped her doing that, so she's just like Dewey, just like the rest of them. So, well, it'll be interesting to see if this gets another movie, because this kind of stuff will always be happening and always continuing in this kind of universe. It'll be interesting to see if this is the wake-up call, like, listen, I know what your games are. I've been going through this for years. I'll just beat you. And it's like, yeah, that's the Jason Bourne we know. So, overall, I enjoyed the movie, though I wish there were some more action scenes, and it was the CIA kind of tech company thing kind of really didn't need to be there. It kind of felt like kind of an added bonus to kind of add to the political climate. But overall, I still enjoyed it and was really pretty happy to have another Matt Damon Jason Bourne movie. So, those are my opinions on the movie. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.